Welcome to episode 464 of AI Brief. I'm Amin.
And I'm Leah. It's great to have you with us today.
Yeah, we've got a really packed agenda for this deep dive. We're looking at, well, a massive structural shift happening right now. We'll start with Block's pretty radical plan to just ditch human managers entirely for an AI world model.
Right. And then we've got SpaceX targeting a literally record-breaking $1.75 trillion IPO debut. Plus, OpenAI is out there actively hiring freelancers to teach ChatGPT how to do their exact jobs.
Yeah, it's wild. And after that, we'll do a rapid-fire breakdown of everything else happening in AI today, and we'll cap it off with the top trending AI tools that you can actually use to boost your productivity.
Exactly. So getting right into it, let's look at what's happening over at Block.
Yeah, so Jack Dorsey just co-authored this really detailed post, and he's arguing that AI can essentially replace middle management, like entirely.
Which is a huge statement.
Yeah, right. And he framed Block's recent 40% workforce cut, which, by the way, was over 4,000 employees back in February. He framed that not as some financial weakness, but as a deliberate bet on AI.
Yeah, it's an aggressive restructuring. Dorsey's argument is that fundamentally, managers just exist to route information, up and down the chain of command.
Just moving data around.
Exactly. They summarize ground-level data for executives, and then they pass directives back down. But Dorsey is saying that AI can do this now using a live world model of the business.
Because Block is a remote-first company, right?
Yeah.
So everything is already digitized.
Exactly. Every Slack message, every shared doc, every code update leaves a digital exhaust. The AI just ingests that real-time data and maps the state of the company, completely bypassing the need for a managerial layer.
So what roles are even left at that point?
Basically three. You've got your builders, who are actually writing code and making products. You have problem owners, who are accountable for strategy. And then player coaches, who just focus on developing human talent, not managing workflows.
Wow. It's kind of like, think of traditional management as this old, clunky software interface, right? You're clipping through 5 different folders, waiting for things to load just to find one file. AI in this scenario is like a direct command line to the company data. You just bypass the slow interface and get exactly what you need instantly.
That's a perfect analogy. And the big question now is if the broader market will actually trust this technology enough to rip out that middle layer, or if corporate inertia is just going to resist it.
Right. And while Block is relying on AI to restructure their workplace, OpenAI is out here extracting the human expertise they actually need to make those AI models capable of doing the work.
Yes. This brings us to Project Stagecraft.
Yeah, tell me about this.
So this is an internal OpenAI initiative running through a platform called Handshake AI. They are paying up to 4,000 freelancers at least $50 an hour to build highly specific training data.
And we're not talking about manual labor here.
Not at all. It's exclusively knowledge work. They're mapping tasks by hiring real specialists, like commercial aviation experts, licensed pharmacists, plant scientists.
HR specialists, right?
Exactly. And these contractors aren't just writing job descriptions. They have to build detailed personas and simulate their daily workflows. They provide the context, the specific goals, the references they use, and the final deliverables.
So if you're an HR specialist listening to this, they're paying experts thousands of dollars to map out exactly how you think through a complex employee dispute.
Yeah. One of the contractors actually said they are totally aware they're training their replacements. And it's important to note that OpenAI is currently drafting policy papers on economic disruption right alongside this.
So they know exactly what's coming. By mapping this specialized knowledge work, they're basically signaling that the timeline for artificial general intelligence is accelerating rapidly. The bottleneck isn't compute power anymore.
Right. It's high-quality human data.
Exactly. And connecting these massive leaps in workplace capability to public market valuations makes the picture even clearer. Because SpaceX just filed with the SEC for what looks like the largest IPO in global financial history.
$1.75 trillion.
It's staggering. They're looking to raise between $50 and $75 billion this June. That would more than double the previous record set by Saudi Aramco,
which was $29 billion. But the really interesting part is the internal structuring before this debut. Elon Musk deliberately absorbed xAI into SpaceX ahead of the filing.
Which creates this crazy technological conglomerate.
Yeah, and look at the revenue discrepancy. xAI is generating under $1 billion in revenue, but the rocket business is pulling in roughly $20 billion.
So he's hiding the speculative AI stuff inside a cash cow aerospace monopoly.
Exactly. And the SEC filing shows that while 30% of shares will be public, Musk is using a two-tier voting structure. So he takes the public capital, but keeps total control of the steering wheel.
Okay, I have to push back on this for a second. Musk's XAI recently lost all 11 of its original co-founders. They have suffered massive talent attrition. Yet they're positioned to beat OpenAI and Anthropic to the public markets as the first AI-era mega-listing. How does combining a software AI lab with a metal-bending rocket company actually beat someone like Google?
It comes down to the physical plus digital tech stack. Software-only AI companies are bottlenecked by internet data, right?
Yeah, text and images.
Exactly.
Yeah.
By integrating into SpaceX, XAI gets exclusive access to proprietary real-world physics data, orbital mechanics, advanced robotics, satellite telemetry from Starlink.
Oh, wow.
It turns the AI from a chatbot into an operating system that can navigate the physical world. It's a moat that software-exclusive labs literally cannot replicate.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
So let's sort of drop the pace here a bit and shift our focus to the architectural changes rippling through the rest of the industry today.
Right. We should probably start with the evolution of custom models.
Yeah, Umi is a great example of this. They just launched a platform that solves how expensive and inflexible frontier models are.
Because deploying something massive for a very niche task is incredibly inefficient.
Exactly. Umi lets enterprise teams build highly customized AI models in just a few hours. You literally just use a few sentences to describe what you want, and it builds it.
And speaking of specialized systems, over in the financial sector, Public just unveiled their first fully agentic brokerage.
Let's break that down. What does that actually mean for the user?
It means you define your parameters and you design an autonomous investing agent. These agents monitor global markets and execute complex, multi-step trades on financial-grade infrastructure.
So you're not just executing limit orders anymore.
Right. You're basically managing a fleet of algorithms.
That's a huge shift. And we're seeing agentic behavior in communication too. Slack is rolling out 30 new AI features.
The contextual memory is the big one there, right?
Yes, computer-wide contextual memory. It can do post-meeting summaries, obviously, but the real power is reusable team skills. If one department builds a great prompt sequence, another team can just grab it and use it instantly.
Which brings us to the open weight and small model ecosystem. Liquid AI just released the LFM 2.5 350M.
It's tiny, right?
Very tiny. It's built to run directly on consumer devices. But despite the small size, it actually outperforms models twice its size when it comes to complex tool use.
So you don't need to rely on the cloud.
Exactly. No latency-heavy cloud connectivity required.
And then on the reasoning side, RCAI released Trinity Large Thinking. This is a new open-weight reasoning model, and the benchmarks are crazy. It hits Opus 4.6 level agentic performance, but for roughly 1/20th the compute cost.
That's massive for independent developers. And shifting to creative and vision tools, Contra Labs just came out of stealth.
Yeah, they're tackling something really subjective.
Right, human creative taste. They've built an evaluation platform with leaderboards and benchmarks specifically focused on quantifying if generated output actually looks and sounds good to human beings.
That's been needed for a long time. Also in the visual space, ZAI deployed GLM-5V Turbo. It's a vision coding model.
How does that fit into a typical workflow?
It basically reads screenshots or Figma drafts, and it instantly translates those visuals into functional, runnable code.
So it collapses the handoff between designers and engineers.
Exactly. And rounding out the foundational news, Alibaba launched One 2.7 image.
A unified image model.
Right. It generates and renders text perfectly across 12 different languages, and it can give you up to 12 consistent images per prompt.
So connecting all of these foundational models to things you can actually use, let's jump into today's trending AI tools.
Let's do it. We'll focus strictly on the use cases here. First up is Verdant. This is for developers or entrepreneurs who just want to rapidly prototype apps by describing them to an AI builder.
Next is Hooksy. This one is for marketers and designers. You can discover, save, and track winning ad creatives from over 10 million different brands.
Then there's VizDiff. If you are a front-end engineer, this instantly generates or fixes code so it perfectly matches the original Figma designs.
And for consumers, there's Verabyte. You just scan grocery labels, and it instantly exposes hidden seed oils or highly processed ingredients.
For the enterprise side, Strands Agents is for engineers who need to deploy frontier AI to manage complex production backends or physical robotics.
And Trinity Large Thinking, which we touched on earlier, is perfect for researchers and developers who need state-of-the-art, open-weight reasoning for long-horizon agent tasks.
Then there's LFM 2.5 350 Emma. This is for creators building lightweight, on-device agents that need efficient tool use without relying on the cloud.
And finally, 2.7 image. This is for designers who need a robust model for complex image generation that can handle multilingual text rendering.
All right, so bringing it all back to where we started, we talked about Block restructuring their entire management floor with an AI world model and OpenAI systematically mapping human professional intuition.
It's a fundamental rewiring of how work gets done.
It really is. And I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over today. If AI is actively mapping specialized knowledge work and replacing the information routing that middle management used to do, what core human skill in your specific industry will be the absolute last thing to be mapped?
It's the defining question right now. And if you found this breakdown valuable, please follow us on your platform of choice and share this deep dive with a colleague who needs to stay ahead of the curve.
See you in the next episode.
See you in the next episode.